Hey, hello, get again, yeah, hello.
Hello again, Guardians. It's great to be here in front of you again. I'm looking forward to our conversation today. I've got some questions about myself today and what's been developing with me, and one from Susan, and a few hanging about from the past few weeks that we never really got around to asking. So, uh, are you ready for some questions today?
Hey, get again, yeah, yes, let's do this.
So, the first topic we'll start with is Susan's question. And it's linked to some work she was doing recently with a client. And I think it's been spawned by some of the answers that you gave us a few weeks ago. So she's asking, is the human consciousness as a collective receiving all the colour frequency it should be to allow things to move in a positive direction for the human consciousness? Or is there anything missing? Is there anything that's not receiving in order to heal and progress?
Yeah, so what was once optimal is no longer optimal, and what Susan is saying is the shift, the ascension process in it's in flow, it's happening. Which means that the templates, the blueprints, associated with the totality of everyone. Also needs to receive that expansion. Um, so we can just request that to get the DNA that the highest councils looking after Katuo, this energetic field of energy and expand the bandwidth of Akatuo, the color frequency. So that can then be called in. This will help with opening the heart field and it will help with the consciousness expansion individually and of the shared collective.
Okay, so you mentioned the calling it in for the heart field. Is that where it was deficient in particular? Where
No, it is more overall, but takatia anchoring through the heart field and unconditional love means it will be received in the correct way. So the heart-led action momentum will create the bigger picture of what can then be expanded into. It looks about at the between what was and what will come online. 60/40, an extra 40% of color frequencies. Filling in the gaps. So for someone like Susan, this means a lot of potential to dissolve what is not working the conflict and awaken on more expansive levels.
okay, so Susan touched on working with a client and seeing a colour plate that was maybe blocking something. I think she said. So, do you understand how she's working with colour in this situation, and can you give her any extra advice? She didn't ask for it, but I'm just wondering if there's any extra advice you could give her for doing work with colour and energy.
She is already working with us at the Ketingnya, we are constantly powering that light and guiding the thoughts and the momentum and concepts that she is receiving. So we are already supporting and when she becomes in that place of stillness That's when we move through the matrix easier, that place of stillness where the heart can lead and the intention for the output and the healing.
Thank you for those answers. The next topic is something that I have been interested in from a great distance. And from the very first weekend that I met with the QHHT network at Thornhill in 2024, I'd been wanting to ask this question and I never quite got a chance to put it into the conversation. And in all the groups I've been involved in and the weekends I've been on and the WhatsApp groups, and no one really speaks about this. And it's about the inner earth and the people or the beings inside Earth, and whether we should be somehow reaching out to them or working with them as with the planet's ascension. I'm sure they've got a lot to do with where we're going, and I read snippets of them on about beings being inside the Earth and working for the good of the planet. And some of them may be humans, some of them may be other races. But we seem to focus so much outside the Earth on the Galactic Federation and what's going on there, rightly so. But I think should we be looking inside more? And I'm just wondering how we do that, and if there's any advice on how best we can do that, and how we could maybe work together with the various beings inside the Earth.
Yeah, the greatest gift you can give these beings is to be a pure channel yourself. Because this means that you are organically transforming the densities within the crust. It's anchoring down into the earth. So the energy they then work with is also cleaner, and it's in those ascension frequencies. The more each person on top of the planet, it's as each person learns to be heart-led at the expanding in those frequencies of the divine mission, the divine light at the and just allowing without getting in their own way. Then this is organically being received through the inner workings of the planet at the frequency, the energy that they work with. You don't need to do anything more per se at the it's more about being a pure divine channel. The more you embody, the more you are weaving and evolving. You're creating these streams of energy, and all the grids are shifting and evolving as this is being done. Don't underestimate the energy that you create at as you're doing what you do.
Okay. I was just so we can work together just by working separately almost, and but working for the same aim in mind as the ascension of the planet. So that's how we work together.
That is correct, because you chose to be here in this role, and then they chose to be there in that role. So the more each embodies that mission, it opens the portals of of potential to evolve through.
Okay. I've just thought it slightly links to the question I had last week about sort of energy vortexes on the planet, and you mentioned sort of energy grids and such like. I mean, are the inner beings in control, or are they able to sort of manipulate these energies on the earth, or adjust them, or work with them in a certain way? Is that
Somewhat same as what you do. Certain energy signatures relate better with the grids than others. But that's part of the soul mission. This is why it's important for every person to katuinia, embody their own truth and nakadenya, not just try to be like everybody else. Atakatitia, each of you is unique, special. Akatototia, each of you has a specific frequency to awaken. And when that happens, then it's like it's like alchemy. Everything starts to work together.
okay? Thank you. The other sort of questions that were hanging over from last week was it was other connections that I seem to have had, or it's been hinted at by various people, and I was just wondering if you can give me any more clarity on the connections. So the first one I would want to ask about was the any connections to me and the Blu-ray children. Now it was first mentioned by Susan, the phrase Blu-ray, which I'd never heard before when I first met Susan in a QHHT session in Penrith. And then not long after that, I had a Reiki session with Veronica, and she spoke about Archangel Michael coming through to represent protection with his Blu-ray, with his blue shield. And so it wasn't Blu-ray children, but it was another mention of Blu-ray. And then the third one was recently when I was sort of using AI to sort of build a kind of galactic origins chart by putting in my sort of birthplace, and it came up with a Blu-ray mention again because of certain planetary alignments and things like that. So there's those three things have came together, and I'm just wondering whether I'm just trying to make tenuous links to Blu-ray children, or if you can tell me there's a definite connection that I have and what that would mean and how I would then utilize that connection.
This appears like training ground at the path that you come through when you can embody and learn through the Blu-ray. This is your psychic intuitive. It is the learning to lead from what's important, and it moves, it weaves in ways that others cannot do this. The lessons coming through the Blu-ray are exponential in healing practices in different ways. So you being able to call in and you work through what is part of your very essence. It's a vibrational frequency that you embody, and it is It's not your imagination. It's real. It's like a stepping stone of part of what you've been through. To bring what the world needs here and now. And then as a channel, this is all very relevant for the path you're on and what you're learning now.
Okay, thank you. The other connection, I have lots that I could ask about, but the other one that had kind of came up linked to Susan was when she sent me the pendulum chart almost to look for starseed origins just over a week ago. And the first time I used it, it gave me the name Hyperborea. And then when I went to double check, the chart almost said, using my pendulum, the chart said, no, it didn't give me a result. The pendulum, it pointed to like, you're finished. You don't need any more. And then I checked it again a few days later, and I more or less get the same thing. Like we're not giving you any more. It was almost like research Hyperborean. So I've did some research on it and how it's the ancient Greeks seem to be the first people who sort of recorded the name Hyperborean, and it was linked to the god Apollo, who somehow visited people in the north, in some sort of idyllic place in the north, maybe far, far north. So I'm just wondering if there's any information you can give me on the concept of Hyperborea. Did it exist on Earth, or is it a mythological place? I did wonder when I was preparing for this session. I mean, we have the North Pole covered in ice, and we do not know what's underneath it. And it made me think, I wonder what was there before the ice was there. Was it Hyperborea? So I'm just trying to join some dots. I don't know where I'm going with it. Is there any information you can give me on it?
Oh, no go to ya, nia kata nia tata ya. This does feel like it was a koto ya physical reality, and nia toto ya nia part of the learning process. Ania no no nia toto to ya. Um, the poles, potentially there is something to do with the poles. There looks to be something that connects the poles through the center of the planet. Don't know a lot about Dekatunya personally, but you are at the stage now where you stop looking outside because all the answers are in here. All the upgrades you're receiving every week where we are assisting and helping with the momentum. This is where your information now needs to channel from. Outside is a lot of distorted information threads. So what you need to learn from this is not out there. It's up here. It's in here. You just need to call forth that the wisdom, the understanding, and the knowing within yourself, and trust what you receive. This is a lesson in trusting what you receive. It's not for other people to be telling you what you need. You're very gifted and you're waking up very quickly. So letting go and allowing. We taught Susan long ago, lessons with spirit. Just sit down and write without thought. And then come back and read through. Then ask your questions. 2, spirit, those who know you best, those that support your journey, and then the inner wisdom and the higher power.
Okay, thank you. Message received. Which leads me on to, I suppose, my main section of questions today, which as you spoke about, you've been helping us with upgrades over the past few weeks, and I think, or rather, I know they've been instrumental in moving me along this path to get to where I have been. So today was the 8th day of meditations where I'm doing at least an hour a day, and I'm recording those meditations after I finish. And there's a lot of stages to the meditation which are built up over time from me doing the gateway exploration and then developing my own techniques as things came to me in the meditation, and I just kept those aspects of the meditation to become my own. So I now have my own technique, I suppose, of meditation and building energy through the meditation and now seeing visions. So I would actually just like to give you each aspect of my meditation, tell you sort of where it came from, almost ask if you can give me advice on where it came from or what it's doing for me or what else I could, like, how could I improve it? What else could I do with that aspect? I suppose is how can I make it better and take it to the next stage? So if I start at the very beginning of my meditation, I I start with protection, and that protection comes from the gateway experience, and it's blowing up the sort of, it's your resident energy balloon, as Bob Monroe liked to call it. I blow a bubble of energy out through the crown, and it comes round in a sort of energetic toroid and then back up through my feet. And I take that round 3 times so that I've got a sort of crystal clear white energy protecting me. And for the rest of the meditation, I'm within that bubble of protection. But I assume that's enough protection for me, because I've never felt threatened in any way once I'm in that. So I'm not really asking if that's enough, but I mean, you can tell me if I should be doing more from that point of view.
This is good, and what you did earlier to expand the field of frequency, and then the white light will also help with that awakening process, because that's what you'll be calling in now. So that was good. As you were talking, there feels to be resistance, and something here that why is there resistance when you are creating yourself in this beautiful place?
I'm not really sure. I mean, just to explain what I do then. So I take the energy, I visualize the energy going round 3 times to create that white sphere of protection. And then what I do is I go back to the bottom, so that for the final time, I then focus on the energy coming in through my feet. And I imagine sort of green roots going down into Gaia. And at that point, Gaia's sending me sort of golden energy up from through these roots into my feet. And at the same time, I then imagine my crown opening and silver crystal light coming from source, coming from yourselves, coming through the top. So I'm imagining this golden light from my feet and the silver light from my crown energy coming into me. And I build that up, concentrating on my feet, bringing it up through my legs, and they meet at my root chakra. And then the gold and silver energy sort of then starts swirling, and I build that up. And then I bring the red colour emerges, and I sort of bring that up through my, kind of activating my root chakra. I've been doing that for a long time. And I take that right up through all of my chakras. So I focus, and I maybe spend 10 to 15 minutes doing that until I really can feel my chakras activating it. So I'll do that with my root chakra, and then I'll move on to the sacral, and I'll be but it's usually once I move on that I actually feel a buzz in my root chakra, and it's actually, something's actually happening down there, and I can feel it in my body. I'm thinking, good, it's woke up. And then I've moved on to my sacral. And usually once I move on to my sacral, I'll feel a strong pulse behind my belly button. And then I'll move on to my solar plexus and I'll feel a strong pulse behind my solar plexus. And then to the heart, and my heart will be really beating hard. And then I'll get to the throat chakra and I'll feel almost like a white ball of energy below my chin at my throat. And I'll feel tingles there. And then I could always feel that really easily in the early days of doing this, but nothing was happening with my third eye. But then from November onwards, after I did a few things with my third eye and had a crystal clearing, my third eye chakra woke up and I was seeing light and colour there. And I've always felt my crown, like it's almost if I had a crown of energy around the top of my head. So that's the sort of early part of the meditation. So I don't know where in that you're sensing the blockage, if there is a blockage. Maybe something's closed at the heart, is it?
Um, yeah, it the different aspects of who you are. And yeah, when you're doing this, do you bring all of you in across time and space at the Tigania and work in the now moment through that method?
I don't, but so Susan has been telling me to do this, and I've been trying to do that as I go to sleep at night now for the past week. I've been asking my guides to bring in the most relevant part of me from out there, bring it to me to integrate it to and I'm leaving it up to my higher self and my guides to say, well, the most relevant part for John is what, and we'll bring that part to him. But I'm not getting any indication in dreams that that's happening. Although I'm dreaming a lot, so I might be getting symbolically shown things, but I'm not actually being given a definite. There's another part of you has come back tonight.
Just in the short term, as you invite us in, and your your other teams, and then imagine it like like a funnel. The totality of mind, body, soul across everything. And working in the now moment. And as you work on you doing this process, and cleanse and clear. This will bring all the different aspects of your soul into greater frequency alignment. Because at the moment there are resistance, and perhaps this is linked to not working with your teams more to ask them for the information, the trust in what you receive yourself, perhaps. Regarding the calling back the soul fragments. That is different. You're doing the right thing, but they will not always come back at the moment that you're asking. Sometimes the process is started and it goes through a momentum, so you'll be guided through the different practices, the meditation, the threads you're pulling in to then help that weave in and through who you are. So it is working because the matrix of your light looks like it is like it is receiving.
Okay, thank you. Right. So actually, when you speak about the blockage in my heart, when I'm focusing on that and building energy there, it does sometimes feel as if there's something irregular there, as if it's not just quite flowing. So that really makes a lot of sense. So I'll focus on what's been said today to integrate that into that part of the meditations. So I'll just go through what after that, what's happened in the past week. And I kept speaking about the book that I was finishing last week. I eventually finished it, called The Magus of Strovolos, about a man called Daskalos who lived in Cyprus, and he was a really powerful spiritual healer and did a lot of work and really well known in that part of the world, almost working miracles. Well, he was working miracles. But in the book, which is really just about his life, towards the end of the book, he spoke about a technique. And it's only like 2 paragraphs where he's almost teaching his students in the book. And he speaks just about holding a white ball of light, just visualizing it in your mind's eye, this white ball of light in your right hand, and practicing this for 15 days, and then using that white ball of light to send to people for healing purposes. And when I read that, I just thought, oh, that sounds like something I should be doing. It sounds like part of the weaving work that I've been trying, and gathering energy and using white light and working with the guardians of the light. So I've added that this week from maybe last Wednesday, and I've done it every day. So I've maybe done five days. So the technique, I'm adding golden light from Gaia, I'm adding white light from Source, from yourselves, and I'm adding my own strands from my chakras to this ball of light. And I've been then focusing on that in the meditation and actually doing the Tai Chi ball movement that I do in the Qi Gong practice, just to sort of imbue more of myself and more creativity and joy or healing power into it. I'm just trying to put more into this before I pass it on to someone. But the very first day that I did it, I sent it to the woman called Jazz, who first seen this weaving ability in me. And I just visualised her and I sent it to her. And then I sent her a message later on that morning. And she came back with a fantastic message to me to say she was feeling on top of the world that day and she didn't really know why, and she does now. And every day of this week, I've been doing it for various people. And so I would like to know what your thoughts on the technique and how I could develop it for healing, or how I could improve the technique and how I might use it to heal people.
Oh, your intention is the most powerful thing. The intention that you put into the actual creation. Your energy is already a culmination. That is it's breathing, it's vibrating within that frequency already. It sounds like you are maybe going through a process that takes a lot longer than it needs to. Your intention is energy is it's instant, and here it is. You can feel it, you know it. It's already through your intention, everything it needs to be. And then visualizing where you want that to go. That is enough. Doesn't need to be overly complicated. The movement helps you embody and flow, yes. But ultimately the intention of creation, of the delivery of what it's going to do. That's the important part of it.
Okay, thank you. While you were speaking, I realised there was another strong connection of why I so really wanted to do this technique. The second paragraph, it was a tiny part. It was about how to heal people with it. And he spoke about receiving someone's photograph and looking at that photograph and being able to tell by holding the photograph what the person needed and what was wrong with them, what illness. And then you could use that ball of light to cure whatever it was. And obviously I've not got to that stage, but when I read that paragraph, it got me so excited because the connection to Susan again was an Aaron using her chart, and we were using our pendulums for, it was almost like, what abilities do you have that you've not yet realized? And the one that came up for me was psychometry. It's exactly the technique of holding the photograph and then knowing from the photograph what the person needs and reading the photograph from the energy. So it made me it made me feel that this technique was for me, because all these dots were joining, everything was falling into place.
Yeah, the heart is really the key. Every time you talk, and this desire to connect into the heart tenses. So there is a disruptor there. And hence the importance of calling in all aspects to work in the now moment across your whole signature field. We are working to help through these sessions to get very actively to bring things online. But there seems to be it's not yet nongonya, but it is. It's coming, but it's here. Learning to embody the Akatia to like the full spectrum of your own frequency and to open without hesitation or doubt to just know. You've been shown that you are very gifted, that people are receiving the energy that you give them, that you share with them. And this is the guidance. You don't need to consider yourself the student. Become the master. You are working directly with the light. It's being woven into you every week when we're in this open channel. The human mind just needs to catch up with where the energy is going.
Thank you. Yeah, it's probably a lifetime that I've had of sort of low confidence in my own abilities in any field, and it's still there, and I'm still needing to shift part of it, although I have come along the road somewhat. So I'm pleased at the progress that I've made, but I do realise there's more that needs to come. And as I'm speaking to you, I can feel my heart beating at times out of rhythm, as if there's something not quite there that's right.
Yeah, it's those offset aspects of your soul that you can't quite see. But very intentionally call them in, because what you're what you're sending to others, you can also use for yourself. No limitations. Think bigger, feel bigger, exist bigger. That's why you're here, to learn, to grow, and to evolve. That sovereign divine, pure divine vessel. Then it can be received more fully when you believe it also.
Thank you. So the next part of this is a bit of a story, and I'll try and keep it as short as I can. Susan knows that I've been feeling pressure across my head, and it's eased a lot since we worked. I've really not been feeling it very much since Aaron. However, I had a family constellation session. I was just a member of it on Sunday, and Angela was also on it, and both of us had great pressure in our head during the session. It came on stronger than it had ever came on before with me, and I think I was getting it from Angela. Now, we've spoke to each other about it, and I've spoken to one or other two people over the last 24 hours, and they agree with what Susan said, or rather, they've independently said the same thing. That Susan said it was like as if I made a vow at some time in another lifetime that it should never happen again, or the powers should never come to me again. And other people have told me it's a block, and similar as along the same lines as Susan. So this morning, this has only happened over the last 48 hours or less. This morning, I decided that this energetic ball of light had to go to that past me, that whoever it was, to remove the vow. So as I was weaving the ball of energy, I was trying to imagine who it was going to. And I seen myself, actually, I think my face on another body, and it was in Atlantis. So it was like a vision came to me of sort of me wearing ornate robes in Atlantis, and then a horrible vision of sort of cutting up meat, which I then realised I think it was human bodies. Then I got told that my daughters and sons were involved with it, and it was I realised, and it was kind of I contributed to the fall of Atlantis because of what I was doing at that point, and it was at that stage that I said I can never be allowed this to happen again. So that came to me in a vision this morning when I realised when I was saying where does this ball of energy go to and do the healing. So at that point, I then used the ball of energy to do the healing, and almost had a conversation with myself back then to say, we realise what you did then, but that's finished. But we need these attributes to come back to John, me sitting here. I want them to come back, and this is almost my second chance to use these and prove that I can use them for good, for humanity, for the earth at this time, for people. So all that happened this morning after I'd woven this ball of energy for healing. So I just wanted to share that with you because it's part of, it's a strong part of the meditation today, and it's telling you what my techniques are kind of leading me to, because I'm getting these visions now within the meditations. I usually get them slightly later in the meditation sequence, but I've now learned to finish what I'm doing in the meditation and step back and then step to the side, and I step to my right, and I'm almost stepping out of something to now say, right, let the visions come in. And it's almost like allowing myself to go to sleep, but I don't go to sleep. I kind of, something comes in. I either hear voices and I get a phrase, or I see images, and I then come back out, and I realise what I've seen. So I'm almost allowing myself to see these visions or hear the voices and then interpret them. I become myself again in the meditation. So I'll tell you in a moment what I seen this morning, because it's related to the Atlantis story. But it's the technique that I've somehow found. Can you explain to me what I'm doing by stepping back and to the side to allow these visions to come?
Do you recall we spoke of the different aspects of consciousness that one holds within? It was discussing astral travel.
Yeah, yeah.
So what you're doing is you're in this mainstream consciousness. When you go into meditation, you move into this area of consciousness. When you're sending something to yourself like that, it's in one of the many other aspects of your own consciousness. So you're stepping into where it needs to be, understood, realized, and that wound needs to be healed. This is going to get it's going to get easier when this is healed because it's every time you talk and you're using your abilities it gets really tight so there's something still about trusting self and understanding what you're saying about yeah, there's a fear there somewhere. It's a bit like you said, changing the shape, it makes it have to beat harder or different to access where you're going within the pure light, because that little piece of yourself had been closed down.
Okay, right. Thank you for that explanation. It allows me to see what I'm doing to find those fragments. Those I'm calling them visions, but I found them. It started with me like at the end of last year, just getting certain words for certain people, and it's slightly developed and slightly developed. And this week has really kind of opened up a lot that I'm getting. It's not just a word; I'm getting visions. So today, just to explain what happened, uh, I I heard a phrase, and it was like it was a girl's voice saying, and I don't really know the interpretation for this, and I'm not asking you to interpret it, but it was a girl's voice, and I don't think she was talking to me, but she was saying, "I'm only 17 year old, and I'm not drunk." So I don't know who she was speaking to, but that's what came. But immediately merging with that voice, I got the image of a big cat, a panther, like a black panther. And then that silhouette of the panther then became a silver outline of the panther, which a flat silver outline, which was then being inserted into earth. So it was being pushed into earth. And this was part of the vision. And then right next to the earth, that panther unearthed a gold ring with a black stone on it. And in the vision, I thought, oh, that looks like an important ring. And I picked it up and immediately put it on my finger. And when I put it on my finger, I knew it had belonged to me in Atlantis and had become corrupted. And I quickly tore it off and rejected it. And then I came out of the vision. And obviously, I then interpreted that myself was me saying, I reject everything that I had back then, right? I reject that corrupted side of me that corrupted with the power at that point. And I don't want that. That can't happen again. And that's what I got this morning. So from those visions, would you agree that that ring belonged to me in that previous existence?
Yeah, yes, is a short answer. But you're also being shown If you've got a ring and you've got the power of light, you're literally walking through these meditations within the Akashic field. The ring was energetic. So yes, it holds a frequency, but choosing to heal the vibration and the frequency so it's no longer shattered through that experience, but calling back the divine aspect of it. And then allowing it to empower who you are. Oh, so as you're traveling you're going to experience many things but thinking past to obvious things and knowing you can heal anything. This is the superpower. With the light guardians helping to power the light. Intention. It opens so much up.
Okay, thank you. So in future, that was my immediate reaction, but in future, I can then sort of analyze the reaction and say, well, anything can be turned to use for the good, for the light.
Forgiveness of self, is a very powerful thing. Forgiveness for anyone, healing any situation in time and space, through forgiveness, through unconditional love, transforms chaos into flow and positive energy.
Thank you. Thanks. That's a lot for me to consider. Just to continue with the routine of the meditation, just so you have the full picture, and I give you everything to this date, at least on the 7th of April, and we'll see where it develops. As part of the meditations that I do with Carl and Tess and Veronica on a Monday, so early on in that meditation, I seen the four of us above the earth, and we built a sort of galactic architecture of energy to allow us to join together, and using pyramids above us and actually coming down the way as well, connecting to the earth. And the idea was to take dense energy from the earth, transmute it through our architecture, and then release it, the white light, into the cosmos, and then bringing back energy from the cosmos and giving it back to Gaia. So we're giving white, clear energy to again bring good energy back to the earth, to raise the vibrations. So I do that every day. So a big part of that is actually going through the qigong process that I do myself, and I get the four of us. I imagine the four of us doing the qigong to sort of connect, and then we're actually doing the pushing and pulling of the energies, and sort of pulling the dense energy out of earth, transmuting that into light, and then sending it out, and then bringing pure light back into the earth. So I just wanted to give you that part of the meditation, to let you know. I'm very much thinking of the light coming from yourselves, so we're sending it out to you, and then you're sending it back. We're bringing it back from you, so you're very much part of the whole process. Have you any thoughts on that, or anything that I could add to it to enhance the experience of the work we're doing?
It sounds like you're doing an amazing job. And what we did to expand the frequency, the spectrum of the white light, is very foundational and will be very beneficial in what you're doing to help not just yourselves, but all beings. The planet, and you four that that are like the guardians and moving through this and working with this energy to assist the planet.
Okay, thank you. Another detail that I've omitted by mistake was, and I'll just add this in just to give us a full picture of where I am with the meditation. As part of the gateway experience as it developed, I seen myself going into a cave, and then that cave is developed. So I still drop into that cave at a certain point. But now waiting for me in the cave is a dragon, and I'll tell you where that came from. So when we were at Killin, I spoke to someone. I spoke to Carl, who told me I had to speak to someone and tell them my Egyptian connections through my QHHT, and they said they kind of tuned in and said, "Oh yeah, you need to connect with Ra when you get into your meditations. You need to connect with Ra." So I just assumed that was Egyptian connections again, which made sense. It seemed to make sense. But the next meditation I went into, after being told that, a dragon showed up out of nowhere, and the name of the dragon was Ra. So since that point, the dragon has always been there in my meditations at the cave. So at that point, when in the early days I was talking to Ra and I'm saying, right, hang on, I need to go deeper into the meditation. And Ra said, no, you don't. I'll take you deeper into the meditation. Just climb on me, and we travel together, and it takes me down further into the meditations. But now it's evolved to when I meet Ra, sometimes we have a bit of a conversation of what's going on, and we did today because of the whole uh, the Atlantis story and meeting the figure, meeting myself in Atlantis was with that conversation. But then I just become one with Ra at that point, and it takes me into space, it takes me into the cosmos, into the stars, and flies, and we do loop the loops and fly up and down. And that whole process takes me deeper into the meditation. And then we arrive together to meet Carl and Tess and Veronica. So I just wanted to give you that rounded view of how I get there to meet the other three. And the other, certainly two of the other three also have dragons. So there's three dragons all round about us as extra energy as we create the cosmic architecture, the energetic architecture. So I don't have a real question about the dragons. I asked you about dragons a few weeks ago. I believe they're just how we perceive a certain type of energy. So dragons don't really exist in that form in their real place, but it's just how we perceive them. Is there any information you can give me on dragon energy and how to deal with it or how to use it to its best?
As you are traveling, and then it's a reconnection with a true elemental part of self, that light sovereign power that's represented through the dragon. And when you're traveling, and then you can it's like an extension to healing and awareness, and your energy, is all part of the cosmos. And when you learn to feel you in that space, when you're with your dragon and you're moving and flying and looping, focus it into the specific consciousness streams of who you are. Look for your consciousness streams. Find the slip streams. And this will help you start understanding the different paths of consciousness and unlocking to get those other aspects of your soul back into alignment more efficiently.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that. So I think we're getting to the end of my meditation phases. So usually what happens is after we do the qigong, the four of us together, I then do the weaving for myself. And again, today was the weave that I did was related to finding me in Atlantis, just to bring healing into that. And then at that part, that's when I step back into the right and find the visions. We'll get slightly out of order, but I've told you about the visions already with the Black Panther and they're finding the ring. So that's at that stage. And then once I've got those visions, that's generally the end of the meditation. But I go back to the four of us and we sort of close off the qigong movements just by closing the movements and sort of close down the architecture. So I feel that I've developed a lot in the past 8 days, and I've received a lot of visions from doing this work, and I'm really pleased with the progress I've made. I've got a lot more to add to it from what you've told me today, and how I can somehow integrate all these selves into me and somehow unblock this heart and get it functioning fully and how it should. Is there anything else that you can add to the overall story of what I'm doing?
Just releasing the doubtful phrases, the somehow, no. You intend it to be so, and it is. You intend for all aspects and of self, you working in the now moment on all aspects. It is so. Don't make it more difficult than it has to be. The more you believe and trust in that instantaneous energy shift, the more it will be so. That leap. You can do it. We can, with today's upgrades, perhaps calling in the strands to be received for that greater self-belief and understanding of the realities unfolding, and that greater energetic the energetic playground of energy that you can explore.
That would be great if we could receive any upgrades today for helping those along.
Sit up straight. Imagine all aspects of who you are opening through the heart. Just relax. Iya, goto niya na niya takata niya taka nangoto tiya. We also recommend akato tiya when you are wanting to go into that akato tiya, that space of healing your soul. Nangono niya takata tiya, work through the amplitahedron. Akato tiya niya na niya niya akato tiya. It's like a help to transform, transmute, evolve. You can use it like a portal to move through. And this will help with the correct vibration needed to assist your light in creating the end result. Does that make sense?
It does, yes. Thank you. Thank you for the upgrades today. I immediately felt strong energy in my hands, just and a pulse through the palms of my hands as I'm sitting here. Just thank you very much.
Yeah, there is still tension. No through here. And streams of light down and through. Oh, Dakota Ninia, we would also like to suggest to the chakra energy when you are evolving with that energy through your meditation, keep it incrementally growing ever so slightly. The energy spinning a little bit faster, a little bit bigger. This will keep supporting that core energy channel as you are evolving and growing to support the frequency that you are reaching out and connecting into as well.
Thank you. I have previously experimented with spinning it faster and larger, and I generally really feel it through my body at that point, but it generally makes me tense up the faster I go. So recently I've just been getting everything spinning without really taking it to as fast as it possibly could, or as large as it possibly could.
Think. No. Yeah, just a little bit at a time. So
Okay.
so your body doesn't reject. Yeah. Also, the higher and lower chakras, incrementally just taking that energy into the higher chakras, into the lower chakras.
Okay.
There is still tension through here.
Yeah, I think I'm probably tense through my shoulders actually. I'm just maybe try and relax my hands down more and see what happens.
Yeah, light up the palms. Let the energy flow more effortlessly. Imagine like beams of light through each of the fingers. It's creating the streamlined energy and greater momentum, especially then when you do your movement. This is really going to to help. Akotototia through the feet also.
I will, thank you. I'm actually tensed down through the middle of my back at the moment. I can feel it there.
Yeah, there has been lots of energy on the through the spine and the neck. That why the tension?
I don't know why the tension actually. I don't know.
Was this here before the session?
No, I don't think so. I think don't know. I'm sitting up nice and straight. It's maybe just that I'm not used to sitting up so straight, and my muscles are having to work harder than what they usually do.
Yeah,
Maybe that.
got the knee and then the knee and then the knee and the ticket the tea and the got the turia katitini and then the knee and then the knee katia. There is many light channels coming in. Katini and the ticket the tia. This be more hesitation. Akatotototia, what we've been talking about, and then the hopefully with this the energy coming in, you'll start to integrate, and then and the body will relearn the light. It'll relax, move easier, allowing you greater reach to do what you do.
Yeah. I maybe just need to move and integrate the energy more.
We also want to remind you both of the portal we opened up, the Seed of Life portal, to keep both strengthening this portal and the pathway out to the portal. The chi. It's very important.
Okay, thank you.
This energy here, this feels connected to the masculine line. It's not your energy. It's more a like a paternal pattern. Are you ready to let that go for your family?
Yes, I would. I'm very happy to let things go.
Oh, oh, but that energy is shifting. Will release now.
Thank you. I have no more questions today. And I thank you for listening to my story of the meditation and indulging all my details.
It's a beautiful story and just the beginning, and much growth to happen.
I feel it it definitely will. There's more coming. The speed of how the meditation has developed this week over the past 8 days has just been, it's been very encouraging for me. I've went from not so much meditation to lots and real results, feeling like I'm having real results quickly. And I look forward to where it's going to lead me and what's going to develop from it, because I know there's lots to come.
Yeah, there is. The community is very important. The community you connect with, it builds the threads, it strengthens the threads of everything you're connecting into.
I am connecting with a lot of people, and it's not really what John of yesteryear would have done. I was, but I feel as if there's so many interesting, lovely, generous people that I'm connecting with, and it's almost becoming quite hard to keep them all, to keep in touch with everyone and stay connected. But I'm doing my very best to connect throughout the QHHT family that we've gathered and we're part of, and I just want to be part of what's going on, and share what I'm doing, and hopefully I can benefit from what others tell me, and hopefully anything that I'm sharing will help other people, and we'll all grow that way together, because I came into this journey without knowing anything that I could really express. I might have known it in here somewhere, but I couldn't express it, and it's only now that I can express what I feel and what I'm understanding, and it's part of my journey to quietly share these moments and share this information.
Yeah. You should practice in the Blu-ray as well. Yeah, imagine the spectrum. It's not just one Blu-ray. Yeah, it's many spectrums of blue. Yeah, it's like dancing across the frequency lines. Yeah. It will help awaken that part of yourself also. Yeah, but don't think yeah, so yeah, logical yeah, the truth yeah, is much bigger and more beautiful than you may expect. It's you learning you. That's where your truth truly will be found.
Yeah, I think that's the message that is slowly sinking into me, that it's all going to come from the inside, and hopefully that, not hopefully, but that's what I've been doing over the past 8 days. There's still my logical mind looking for labels and put things in nice tidy boxes and say, oh, Blu-ray children are this and this is exactly what they do. But I know I'm not going to get those answers. I need to go and discover it for myself and find out. Because otherwise I would just say, oh, that's what Blu-ray do, and I'd never dig in. I would never find out any more. I would just know what it is, and without exploring it. Whereas I need to explore it, and it's through that exploration that I'll discover it for myself. And
yeah, that is part of the reason you've been brought back to us in a form that you can receive it, and through Susan, but it's this this calling in, this desire to learn, the understanding and wanting to know. You called us in, and this is how you could receive us.
yeah, well, thank you for such a wonderful journey that we're having so far. It's been a real privilege and pleasure, and it's more than a pleasure. It's a dream to be part of, sitting in front of such a talented channel and speaking to the Guardians of the Light. I never thought I would ever be here.
We want to suggest a katoto something else if that's okay.
Yes, please.
This is for Susan. Moving forward, and then it's associated with the wise ones. Sakatotoya. Angatakinia and a channel wakototo through them. Akatatia directly. Akatatia. It's a very ancient channel. Angania tatotatia and akatatia. But tatatia the Akotonia no, the codes are still coming in. Akatatinia, yeah, it's not possible yet. Akatototia, not all the information has been found. Akatatatia, she needs to be akotototia, tatatatia, moving through the skulls. Akotototia to collect the ancient codes that have been, that have been lost standing and call them back to integrate and then through these sessions you can keep working on and you're building that connection more assertively so that this channel can open up. This will be something that is helpful for both of you, and the bigger picture of where you're going.
Okay. So should if Susan be working towards channeling the wise ones? Is that what you're saying? But once more codes need to come in to allow her to do that?
That is correct.
Okay. I look forward to that moment happening. Susan mentioned the wise ones last week as we were chatting. That we were trying to talk about whereabouts the Guardians of the Light are in the great cosmos scheme, and I was suggesting that you were right up there at source, and you were maybe the highest. But Susan suggested that the wise ones may even be above or further away, or
They have been very forgotten, as time has passed. And they reached out to her some time back. To channel information for a book but she can't hold the stream of energy. It's too high. These sessions, what you're doing here is an opportunity to start reconnecting back to those roots. This ancient wisdom, which holds very many healing practices and much you could learn together individually and on the journey forward.
okay, thank you. Just when we were talking about channeling and a new channel coming on for Susan, it reminded me one of the visions I had yesterday, and it was sort of attached to Angela and her journey, sort of connecting with the Native Americans as she goes across America. But without getting into the whole thing, I had a vision of a male and female Native American sort of rebalancing the sort of masculine and feminine energies. But right after that, I had almost like a vision of a shamanic person coming through, and I heard a phrase in what I would have said was his language, the indigenous American language, and he said it out loud, and I heard it. And when I came out of the vision, I immediately thought, well, I wonder if that's light language. I don't know if it was just my logical mind trying to put a label on things. So I said it out loud. I don't think I said it correctly, but it made me think, oh, is that a small tidbit of light language coming through to me, that, or it might just have been indigenous language. Who knows?
Oh, Dr. Yin if you are interested in opening your soul language and in whatever light form that will present, that is part of what you can do to call it in. Anyone can call in their soul light. It will help to reconnect you to your origins.
I think it's not an ability I ever thought I would ever achieve, and I've never actually had that ambition. But the fact that I'm so interested in listening to channelers and listening to Susan and fascinated by Susan and other people that can channel and all over the world that I've listened to them online, it makes me think if I've got the chance to transmit light language one day, I would love to do it. I would really, that would be amazing. But again, I don't.
It starts with a thought and an intention. It starts to weave the realities to be the truth.
Yeah, well, I do want to do it. So that's on my journey. There's maybe a few other things that I need to master first before light language comes along, but I maybe need to master stop doubting myself first.
You're doing great. You are going in leaps and bounds. And you are on the journey. You're asking the questions. That is good.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have no more questions left today, and I realise I've taken up so much time, but it's been a real pleasure. So because it's been all about me today, I want to finish up by asking about Susan. Is there any final messages that should come through for Susan? What she's working on at the moment in her daily life with clients? Is there anything in particular that you can give her that would help her along?
Your session that's coming up to do for public this is very important and then you got to very intentionally to ask questions and allow us to help the greater collective field as people listen they will be lifted in frequency and they will receive so working in and in akatotinia in akatotia intelligently to seek and receive the healing that humanity needs. This is good. This is important. It's a good opportunity for more to receive the light. When you weave what you're understanding and where the threads of light are, you can essentially you're paving the road together to create another portal for that ascension, another opportunity for people to move into.
Okay.
There's nothing specific for Susan. She is she's doing fine. Just what we said before about the codes.
Okay.